Hello there, it's Heidi Sawyer. Welcome to your prediction for January 2016. To begin with, Happy New Year. So as we move into 2016, what do I do as far as this is concerned? I put together the Tree of Life mixed with numerology, which comes together to form the life codes. Now, the Tree of Life is something that is thousands of years old. Numerology, pretty much the same, thousands of years old. Put those two together, it gives a very powerful insight into what you can expect as far as things coming forward into your life are concerned. Now, what I have here is I have mixed this with the archetypes to give a picture for you for your month ahead. Now, I look at this from the perspective of the intuitive sensitive person who has a sensitivity to their emotions, to their emotional world, and how they deal with that and how they utilize that in their time moving forward. So intuitive sensitives are very much about inner world and inner world development. So this is how I look at this from your perspective moving forward. So for January 2016, what do we have? Well, in the first area, so this is you in your everyday world, in your physical world. It's pretty good as to what I've picked out and extremely relevant. What has come out is the scribe. So what does that mean? It means that it's a very good idea for you right now to write down what it is that you would like out of 2016. Okay, so to write down, I don't really like to use the word goals because I think that becomes something that you can kind of throw away. Think, oh, I don't want to do goals. I just want to see how things come. So if you look at it along the lines of what are your plans? What is it that you would like to feel included in your world in the year moving ahead? So for this month, it's something that's very strong and something that your psyche would like you to be a little bit more committed to. Hence the reason why this has been pulled out. This is why it's come out. So in area number 2, which is how you connect things as far as your inner world and your outer world, you've got the trickster as far as that's concerned. So what have we got here? What does that mean for you in January 2016? It means that you'll try and avoid things. So if you have made New Year's resolutions, you will find that you are pretty rubbish at keeping them. They will go really quite quickly. Why? Because your emotional world, and that's something that you'll generally find over 2016, is it's quite changeable and it fluctuates. So what you want to do one moment will change to something the next moment. It can even go something deeper. So you might decide that something is actually too basic of an idea. It's not committed enough. It's not deep enough. So therefore you kind of got bored with it. So the trickster here is pretty much about looking at things, as I said, from what you want out of 2016, but at the same time make them something that's a little bit deeper than you would normally commit yourself to, because that would actually make you a lot more committed than it would do normally. Okay, so deeper makes you more committed. Surface means that you'll just mess around and you're not bother. Okay, so as far as number 3 area is concerned, so this is about your subconscious world, what's going on more in the background. Well, we're actually coming into a 9 year, which is very much about that. It's very much about making the subconscious conscious, and it's a collective subconscious. So what do we have in here? We have the priest. So it feels like some of the things that you are deciding upon are very personal to you, but they're also quite spiritual. So the priest is works in isolation, but it's also about something that has a spiritual meaning. So you'll be looking for the deeper parts of life in January 2016, and also thinking about that for the year moving forward, as in what is important to you about the deeper aspects of life. Now, on a soul level, you have the advocate, which means that at a soul level you're starting to really feel quite settled in yourself. You're starting to feel like you know yourself, and you know yourself at a deeper level than you have been able to really connect with before. Now, what do we have in the 5? The 5 is the connector, between the 5, your will, and love. So you can look at this in terms of what you need to, two energies you need to bring together in order for things to actually happen and change in your life. Well, this month we have the prostitute. Doesn't mean that you go and hang around on street corners. It means, how do you sell yourself into the external world? So now is the time for, not time for hiding. It's actually about deciding what you're going to be doing that then shows who you are out into the world, and without being frightened about that. Okay, so it's something that you feel that you're deciding in as to how you can feel more confident as far as that's concerned. Now, in the area of relationships, we have the mystic. Okay, so it means you being more instinctual, more intuitive about relationships. This doesn't mean necessarily romantic relationships. This means all relationships. So it means that you listening to your inner world early on and deciding whether you want to involve yourself with somebody based on what is presented in front of you rather than what you think you would like it to be. Okay, and you'll feel more confident with that and more confident with starting that process as the year begins. So rather than keeping something in your life because you think you should do, is you're looking at the quality of it and deciding on that basis as to whether it's something that you want to continue with. And as far as you're concerned around relationships, you're being really quite intuitive about that. Now, in the whole self, what do we have here? Well, we have something that you wouldn't expect in the whole self, which is the beggar energy, which is the whole self is how we see things from the whole, how we see things from our deeper world, and how we see things from the overseeing self, so to speak. We have the beggar in that energy. So what does that mean? What can that possibly mean as far as a strong picture is concerned? Well, what you're dealing with in January 2016 is getting over yourself in terms of feeling unworthy. Okay, so now is absolutely the time to start getting over yourself in terms of feeling unworthy and make an effort to start connecting as far as the rest of you is concerned, because this to me, as far as an intuitive sensitive is concerned, really looks like the beginning of a very positive time. But the positive time is held up by your own restriction. It's not something that's there in the external world. It's your own restriction and your attitude towards it. We're moving into now what's called the 9 frequency, the 9 vibration, and it is about the collective subconscious. So it's hidden emotions coming to the fore. Now, for most people, that is something that looks absolutely kind of terrifying in a way, because most people aren't used to really feeling properly. But to an intuitive sensitive, it's finally a time where you feel listened to, or you have the opportunity to feel listened to. All the things that you've been trying to say and not been heard, it's all poo-pooed, yeah, just you being sensitive as usual, all those kinds of things. People start to hear what you said previously, okay? And they start to feel things that they weren't expecting to ever feel, because emotions in a 9-year become really quite magnified, which is fine for you, but for someone who's not used to that, they feel kind of out of control. So you have a huge opportunity to really make connections, decent connections, over the coming year. And this is a great start as far as that's concerned. But basically, put it bluntly, you've got to get over yourself. So that's your prediction for January 2016. What do I have in January for you? What events do I have on? Well, I will be releasing in January 2016 the exciting Inspire event, which I do on a yearly basis. Your opportunity to join me for Inspire will be released in January. You'll also find that I have a webinar coming up, so look out for details on that, which is the webinar for January 2016 is self-mastery, and anyone can join that as far as that particular webinar is concerned. Self-mastery is the energy, is the thing to work through as far as 2016 is concerned. And so what better time to start the year, start it on that basis. And so that will be the theme of this month's webinar. I also have a couple of events. I have a meetup in Dublin that's happening on evening of the Friday the 15th. And I will have a couple of closed groups this month. One in most certainly in Dublin, and the other in the UK. So if those are things that you like the sound of, closed groups are very small group environments, and the focus will be 2016 and you. So have a great month, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now. Sensitives are very much about inner world and inner world development. So this is how I look at this from your perspective moving forward. So for January 2016, what do we have? Well, in the first area, so this is you in your everyday world, in your physical world. It's pretty good as to what I've picked out in the life codes. Now, the tree of life is something that is thousands of years old. Numerology, pretty much the same, thousands of years old. Put those two together, it gives a very powerful insight into what you can expect as far as things coming forward into your life are concerned. Now, what I have here is I have mixed this with the archetypes, extremely relevant. What has come out is the scribe. So what does that mean? It means that it's a very good idea for you right now to write down what it is that you would like out of 2016. Okay, so to write down, I don't really like to use the word goals because I think... Hello there, it's Heidi Sawyer. Welcome to your prediction for January 2016. So to begin with, Happy New Year. So as we move into 2016, what do I do as far as this is concerned? I put together the Tree of Life mixed with numerology, which comes together to give a picture for you for your month ahead. Now, I look at this from the perspective of the intuitive sensitive person who has a sensitivity to their emotions, to their emotional world, and how they deal with that and how they utilize that in their time moving forward. So intuitive